everyone. Thank you all for being here with us for week 5 of our Summer Institute 2021. And today we are going to be covering boundaries and balance. So moving forward. What are boundaries? Boundaries are a boundary is an imaginary line that separates me from you. It separates your physical space, your feelings, needs, and responsibilities from others. Your boundaries also tell other people how they can treat you, what's acceptable, and what isn't. So what are personal boundaries? So when it comes to personal boundaries, they are limits and rules we set for ourselves within our relationships with others. They are physical, emotional, and mental limits that we establish to protect ourselves from being used or violated by others. They also allow us to separate who we are and what we think, what we feel from the thoughts and the feelings of others, from thoughts and feelings of others. So now let's talk about some types of boundaries and common traits. So we will be talking about today rigid boundaries and healthy boundaries. So when it comes to rigid boundaries, some of the common traits that people display are they avoid close relationships with others. They're unlikely to ask for help when needed. They have few close friends. They're very protective of their personal responsibility of
Erica, you're breaking up. So it looks like we're having technical difficulties with Erica. So great. No, Erica, you're still breaking up.
Sorry, everyone, for
Gracie,
the technical difficulty.
Do you want to continue?
Yes, of course. So we have from rigid boundaries to healthy boundaries. Some of our rigid boundaries may be likely to ask for help, has few closer relationships, also very protective of personal information, may seem detached even with romantic and intimate partners. As far as healthy boundaries, doesn't compromise to values for others, shares personal information, and of course in an appropriate way, does not over or undershare, knows personal wants and needs, and can also communicate with them. And also, mainly really important is accepting when others say no to them.
So it looks like Erica's back. So if you want to continue, Erica.
Okay, Gracie, thank you. So continuing on with the types of boundaries and common traits. So as you notice in the picture, it says, this is where I draw the line. So you need to know where to draw the line for yourself when it comes to your boundaries with other people. So most people have a mix of both boundary types that Gracie talked about. So that will be the rigid and the healthy boundaries. And the appropriateness of boundaries depends on the type of setting that you're in. So for example, someone can have a healthy boundary at work and then have a mix of both boundaries, like with their family and with their friends. So with that being said, so what's appropriate to say when you're out with your friends might not be appropriate when you're at work to say with people that you work with. So you might want to take that into consideration when you're having outside conversations. Or even, I know sometimes some of us hang out with coworkers outside of work hours. So just being mindful of keeping those boundaries in place as well and being appropriate. So, and then lastly, some cultures have different expectations when it comes to boundaries. For example, like in some cultures, like it's inappropriate to express yourself, your emotions publicly, while in other cultures, emotional expression is encouraged. So moving forward, so why are boundaries important? So boundaries are important because it draws a clear line around what is okay for us and what is not. So whether it's in the work or in personal relationships, poor boundaries may lead to resentment and also burnout at work. Because who wants to go to work and, you know, you're having these boundary issues, and then you have to be stressed, stress ties into that. And then eventually it causes, you know, burnout, anger, resentment, and hurt feelings. It can also affect your sense of self-esteem, your self-worth, and overall your personal and interpersonal comfort level with others. So moving forward. So these are the 5 boundaries you need, which are important to have. So when it comes to the 5 boundaries, it's emotional, material, time, mental, and physical. And when we say emotional, that's the boundary around appropriate topics. So for example, something that you can say is, this isn't a topic I'm willing to discuss. And that's keeping the boundary healthy and appropriate. So when it comes to material, we mean boundaries around possessions. So my car cannot be used on weekends, and that's setting that boundary. When it comes to time, which is boundaries around your time and lateness. So that's simply just asking someone, if you're going to be late, please text me and let me know. And that's just courtesy, common courtesy. When it comes to mental freedom to have your own thoughts and beliefs, values and opinions. So I respect that you disagree with my opinion, but don't force your own on me. So that's the mental. And then lastly, the physical, which is touch or maybe unwanted comments regarding your appearance or sexuality. You could simply say, I don't find comments like that funny. And that's very important to, you know, especially if you're addressing something like that in the workplace as well. So being able to express that and be firm on, you know what, that's not funny to me, and not even laughing when others are, you know, it's not even directed towards you. So those are the 5 boundaries that are important to have moving forward. So how to set healthy boundaries. Let's talk about how to set healthy boundaries. So 1, you need to listen to yourself. So begin by listening to yourself. What's important to you? Think about what's important to you. Like, what are your needs? Are you feeling any resentment, anger, or discomfort? So listen to yourself, listen to your body when it comes to setting healthy boundaries for yourself. 2, learn to say no. Give yourself permission to say no. It's absolutely okay to say no. You don't need to over-explain yourself or debate or defend your reason why you're saying no to something or to someone. And then 3, allow room for flexibility. So know that boundaries can be flexible. It's all about finding a balance. So too rigid, you risk being isolated from others. Too soft, you risk being, you know, you risk exploitation. So not having healthy boundaries. So when it comes to healthy boundaries help you to care for yourself, be generous with others, have healthier relationships, know your own limitations, ask for help when you need it, use your time well, and feel more relaxed. So you don't have to stress out, you know, or anything like that if you have those healthy boundaries in place for yourself and with others. So healthy boundaries would sound like, and these are just some other examples of what healthy boundaries sound like. So I will end this phone call if you continue to shout at me. I can stay for half an hour. Thank you for your offer. Unfortunately, I can't make it. It's okay. Like if you can't make it, you know, don't feel obligated to make it to certain things. So it set that boundary. I'm not comfortable discussing that. Please do not discuss that with me. I need time to think about it. I'll come back to you. I don't respond to work emails on the weekend, and I know I am a serial email checker, and I need to set that boundary for myself on the weekends. Do not, even on my phone when they come through, do not even look at it. So setting that boundary with work, like, you know, don't respond to work emails on the weekend. I'm not comfortable with that. If you do it again, I will have to leave. And then last, I respect your opinion, but this is my life and my decision. And sometimes I know that one is kind of hard when it comes to dealing with family, but you definitely need to set those boundaries with your family because it's really important when it comes to having those healthy boundaries. So I will hand it over to Gracie now to get into the boundaries exploration activity.
Hi, everyone. So before we get started, if you guys would like to take a minute or 2 to grab a piece of paper, you guys can get a piece of paper. And once you have your piece of paper, fold it in half. So in the chat, you guys can raise your hand. Let me know once you guys are ready. Erica and Ms. Roberta, can you let me know if you see any hands up when our participants are ready?
And just so you all know, for this activity, we will be using an annotation feature. So you will go to the top of your menu and it should say up top of your screen and say view options. And it's you click on annotate. And then what we're gonna do is use the stamp option. So you would just pick one of the stamps. So for example, I'll pick the heart, and then the way we're gonna do it is we're just gonna stamp where we feel is appropriate. So. Go ahead, Gracie.
Okay, are we ready?
I think so.
Okay, so for this activity, think about a person or a group of people with whom you struggle to set healthy boundaries. This could mean that your boundaries are too rigid. And also, who do you struggle to set healthy boundaries with? It could be from family to supervisors, coworkers, intimate partner, etc. In your relationship with this particular person, you're gonna write it down. That's why I asked you guys for the piece of paper. Write that down. And how are the boundaries in each of the following category with this certain individual? So here we're gonna annotate, but in that piece of paper, what I would like for you guys to do is put rigid and healthy boundaries. That's why I asked you for you guys to fold it in half. So for our activity here, what we're gonna do is, like Erica said, we're gonna stamp it. So one example, Erica went over the emotional, material, time boundaries, mental boundaries, and physical boundaries. So for this certain individual that you wrote down, how do you feel for your emotional boundary? Is it too rigid or is it healthy? So in my case, it's healthy. As I don't know if you guys want to start, any of you guys can annotate. Nice.
Can you tell me where annotate is again? On which?
Erica?
So if you go to the top of, if you hover around the top of your screen, it should say view options.
Oh, okay, I got it.
And then click down on it, and then it's the arrow, and then you should see annotate.
You got it.
And then you go to the stamp option, and then you just click one of the stamps. So it should be an arrow, a check mark, an X, a star, a heart, or a question.
Nice. So the next category is material. Do you feel it's rigid or is it healthy? I see a few notes. Nice. Ready? Okay, I see more annotations. Awesome. You guys are going ahead. Awesome. So for time boundaries, in my case, I will definitely need to work on that. Nice, nice. How about for mental boundaries? Nice. And lastly, for physical. Thank you, everyone. And this is also going to be provided for you guys in the follow-up email. So if you guys would love to work on this at home, you guys are always welcome to. And you guys can share this activity. It's really important to know, where do we need to work on? As you can see, there's some areas that are rigid boundaries. So we need to work on those. And look, this is so surprising. Look, you guys, material boundaries. No one's put rigid. Awesome. I see mainly more in emotional. I see it more in physical and time. And, and that's why we talk about, and, it's really important. It's really important to work on all of them. And this is the reason why this activity is so important, so you guys can see what you guys need to work on, what we need to work on, because having rigid boundaries is not really healthy. So we want to make sure that we're always reaching in our healthy boundaries. So thank you, everyone. And like I mentioned before, we're definitely going to share this with you guys. So next thing we want to talk about is also finding a balance. It's really important to find balance in our lifestyle. So finding a balance between work and life can be really challenging. The constant demands we place on ourselves to work harder and longer can take a toll on our physical and mental health, as we saw earlier in our activity. Of our US adults employed full-time, nearly 40% reported working at least 50 hours per week, and 18% work 60 hours or more. So the consequences of not having a balance, the study shows that we are working harder and longer and sleeping less. We have poor health, unbalanced work life and home life that can actually cause numerous of health consequences. You are also at greater risk for depression, stroke, and heart disease. As individuals, become more unbalanced, they often turn into drugs, alcohol, or even cope with other additional stress. So as you can see in the picture, sometimes we don't know how to balance ourselves. Sometimes we put more effort and work and forget about our other personal life, or vice versa. So we need to work on finding that balance. So continuing with the consequences of not having a good balance is, we have social disconnection. We have spent most of our time working. We may even miss out on important events and milestones, not only in our personal life, but also with family, with children, with our youth. We increase expectations of working extra hours and have, greater financial, and also that can help you climb the ladder. Yes, but that extra time may also increase your responsibility, leading to more additional challenges. So as you can see in the picture, we always try to rank that high expectation, but we miss out on a lot of things. We get disconnected. So how to manage work balance? So to manage time, remember, do what you need to be done and don't worry about the rest. Make a list, put up weekly events for home life or on a calendar, create a calendar and, keep a to-do list. And, very, very important, leave work at work. With technology, we can connect at any time, eliminate the boundary between work and home. Make a conscious decision. I personally, I need to work on that as well. Once we tend to be, especially on weekends, we still receive emails. We receive emails all the time. And I have, to work on that, because even in the weekends, I still look at my emails. So that's something that I also personally have to work on. Get disconnected. Don't even check those emails. Those emails are still going to be there. So that's one thing I would like to share. So benefits of having a work-life balance is people have more time available to run personal errands, such as servicing cars or go to doctor's appointments. And as a result, people are less likely to use work hours on non-work related issues or use fewer sick days. People who have more for their time, personal life time report high job satisfactions, and such of a result are less likely to resign. They are also more motivated at work and more productive. Excuse me. So we don't want to be like like the lady in the picture, worry about bills, work, gym. Like we said, make a list. Make a list of what is your main priority. So is work-life balance possible? What do you guys think? Sorry, technical difficulties. Yes, it is. Maintaining work-life balance is a continuous lifelong process, and the balance will tilt towards a different domains. So the goal is to achieve a work-life balance. Thank you, everyone. So any questions? Please feel free to unmute yourself or place it in the chat if you guys have any questions.
And while they're thinking about their questions, I'm going to go ahead and launch our evaluation poll. If you could take just a couple of minutes to fill it out and let us know how today's workshop was for you. There are, I believe, 3 questions that you need to answer. And I'll leave that poll open for about maybe 30, 45 seconds, and then I will close it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roberta.
Yeah, and I want to just say thank you very much to Gracie and Erica. When we were doing the planning, this was one of the topics that came up as being important, because we know that individually, each of us juggles a lot of different things, whether it's church or volunteering and work with different programming pieces and families and friends and so many other things. And so we want to be able to help you all in just being able to create that balance when it comes to setting boundaries. And, by a show of reactions, how many people on here struggle with creating or setting boundaries with folks? What is, maybe put up, either raise your virtual hand or do a reaction. Yeah, I for sure do with certain people, right? Sometimes we can be better with others. So definitely we encourage all of you to continue to work at that. And again, thank you to Gracie and Erica for the information that you all shared. Definitely a great presentation today.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everyone.
All righty. So did we get our poll responses in? Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, everyone. Have
Thank you,
an awesome
everyone.
day.
See you tomorrow for resource sharing.